Ready here? Okay. A very special program this morning because I think many of us are looking for a breakthrough. That was our title. And we need to look at the definition of breakthrough. You know, I often go to the dictionary, and you know, words have such powerful meaning that when we start to really look at them, we have to know that it's important that we look at the meanings. It's a good starting point. And when I looked in the dictionary, like there's that military thought of breakthrough, which, in other words, an offensive thrust that penetrates and carries beyond a defensive line in warfare. In other words, you've seen it. You have like the Battle of the Bulge in Europe. You have two forces fighting, one against the other, and they seem to be holding the line. And then one portion of that line weakens, or another portion of the line gets strong, and they're able to penetrate through whatever those barriers are separating the two. A breakthrough is an act of breaking through some obstacle. Very often we talk about it as a sudden advance in knowledge or technique. And then sometimes a breakthrough, they say it's a person's first notable success. And so as we really begin to think about this topic, and I wish that I could lay out the topics, you know, for 52 weeks in advance. I really wish that I could, but it's very... You know, looking at that definition of a breakthrough, that idea of, an offensive thrust, you know, that carries you beyond a border, or breaking through some obstacle, or a sudden advance in knowledge or technique, and sometimes a person's first notable success. You know, many of us right now, we are at a point in our lives and in our businesses, we're looking for the knowledge or the techniques, okay, that can get us through a present obstacle. In other words, when we look at the other side of looking for a breakthrough is how do I get unstuck? How do I move on to the next level in my life? How do I overcome what's holding me back? Yeah? And so when we think about that, especially in our businesses, many of us are in network marketing, and I think it's very natural we come to a plateau where we've done all that we know how to do, and for some reason we can't go any further. We just get stuck. In our personal lives, we get to a point where we keep getting the same results. You know, people still treat us the same way. We still experience the same fears, the same insecurities, and we get stuck. Okay? And so when we look at this breakthrough thought, it's like, what is the obstacle which is keeping us from moving to the next level? You know, life is a continuous process of evolution and growth. You know, each experience is built upon the other, and everything we go through is really a learning experience that prepares us for the next level. When we don't learn from the experience in our personal lives or in our business, we're doomed to repeat it again. And so, this thing that's keeping us back, sometimes it might be lack of anticipated success. We may be stuck in our present situation, stuck in a relationship from which we do not grow. You know? We may be in a situation where the success, the happiness, the money, the peace of mind that we thought we would have by now in our lives, in our businesses, in our relationships, is not manifesting. And, you know, when you really look at yourself, you know, sometimes we may be stuck and needing a breakthrough, but in total denial. In other words, we may be pretending that everything is all right. But one of the problems with pretending that everything is all right is you can't grow through it. As long as you're pretending that everything is all right, you never take the steps to change your situation. And so where we are right now, and I mean, this is not everybody, but I always pick my topics based on what I'm going through. That's the best thing you can always speak on. So many of us have reached a peak, a plateau, and I'll call it a plateau of stagnation, and we have not been able to rise above this plateau, this obstacle, this wall. And so how do we do that? We're looking for a breakthrough. How do we do that? Well, first, you know, we have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. One of my good friends says, you've got to be hungry. As a matter of fact, he says, hungry. And I mean, that's where you've got to have it. There's no way you can live without it. Where that desire is so burning and so deep, it's right up there with oxygen. And so when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll change. You know, when we get in our comfort zone, remember I said that many of us are in need of a breakthrough, but we go through denial in our minds, and so we convince ourselves that we, in this state of stagnation, it's almost like we're in a prison of mediocrity, and we convince ourselves that we're not in the prison. Or convince ourselves that the prison is where we really want to be. That's extreme denial. It may be in business. And you know, when you start into these extreme denial situations, you find that one of the keys to this is excuses. You know, in our business, oh, you know, the people in North Carolina, oh, they don't want to be successful. Oh, they're just like, you know, and then the people in Texas say, oh, the people in Texas, I tell you, they just don't want to be successful. We present them with the opportunity of the lifetime, and they just don't want to do it. And then the people in California say, oh, you know, the people in California, they're unmotivated. They don't want to do anything. They're stuck. And what we're really saying is you always bring yourself to the party. It's not the people anywhere, but that's a part of that self-delusion, a part of that where we convince ourselves that we're in the situation that we're in because somebody else won't help us, because somebody else won't do what we want them to do. So the first key is to realize that you're in that situation, realize that you're in the prison of mediocrity, and that you got there through your own efforts, that you are there based on the choices you make, the people you involve yourself with, the habits that you demonstrate, and the emotions that you permit to control your life. So looking for a breakthrough, we've got to get out of the box. In other words, that we can't stay stuck in our present situation. Whatever it is, it's a box. It's a prison. You know, there's a biblical story of, I think it was Paul and Silas, and they were in a prison, and when the earthquake happened, the door to the prison flung open. But there's no statement that the door was locked in the first place. And so sometimes our breakthrough is brought about by a crisis, by a catastrophic event that makes us rise to the occasion, where we have no choice but to rise or die. So to get out of that box, you know, I think that we as human beings have the ability in our minds to get out of the box of stagnation and limitation by our thinking, by ourselves, and we don't necessarily need an external event to wake us up. And if we, right now, those of us who are listening on this line, I'm sure that we're in some type of status that we feel that we're just sort of boxed in, and we sure would like to get out of that box. So to get out of that box, the key, as they always say, think out of the box. But, you know, that needs a little more clarification. To get out of the box, you've got to think outside of the box. But to think outside of the box, you really got to be outside of the box. may sound paradoxical, but in other words, how do you be outside the box when you're in the box? How can you be outside the box of limitation, lack, mediocrity, unhappiness when you're in that box? The key, folks, is through your imagination, through your visualization. We often say, you can't be what you can't see. And so we have to recognize that you're in prison and that you put yourself there, but now you can actually get out of that box, out of that prison, by visualizing through your imagination. You know, where your imagination leads, your reality will follow. So be aware of who you are, the great person that you are, and don't let your situation or circumstances define who you are. Let me say that again. Don't let your circumstances or your situation define who you are. So if in life you seem to be stuck in either a relationship, stuck in a set of circumstances that seem to box you in, don't let them define you. In your business, if you seem to be stuck, you know, with the lack of progress, the lack of anticipated success, things just aren't going the way you thought they would go, that when you have that situation, to realize that you don't have to stay there, that you can get out of the box by being out of the box, and the way that you be out of the box is through your imagination. In your life, in your business, see everything the way that you would like it to be, and not only see it the way that you would like it to be in the vision. You know, as we listen to some of the top people in our industry speak, it seems that once you get to a certain plateau in this business and in life, that the people who make that breakthrough and move on to the next level become very spiritual in their conversation. If you listen in on some of the calls, folks will be telling you that your level of personal development determines your level of success, that you will never be more successful than your level of personal development permits you to be. And so what we begin to see is that success is an inside job, and an inside job meaning that it's something that you work on inside and something that you create in your mind. And so in order to be in the imagination place that you want to be, you have to bask in the vision. One of the key thoughts in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, is that you are able to realize that which you can experience through your senses, that you can feel, that you can touch, that you can smell, that you can see, that you can feel the movement of. And so we get out of the box, we make that breakthrough by visualizing ourselves in the situation that we would like to be, rather than in the situation that we're in. So visualize yourself walking across that stage, and when I say it, visualize it in every sense of your feeling nature. Visualize the crowd standing up and cheering you. Visualize the words. You know, every person who has received that Academy Award, if you ever talk to them, they'll tell you they've written that speech, that acceptance speech, long before they ever did. Jim Carrey tells a story that when he was poor and living in a van and, trying to get his career off the job, he used to write checks to himself for $20 million because he said one day he would be paid $20 million for demonstrating his craft, for being in a movie. And so wherever you are right now, don't look at where you are. Look at where you want to be and that breakthrough results. Look at not just the condition, but look at the results of the breakthrough. If you make a breakthrough, if you get to that other side, where is it? What is it? How does it feel? How does it look? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? And I'll tell you, folks, each and every one of us will have to bask in that vision, to get out of our stuck situation, to make that breakthrough. Let us sit each day, 2 or 3 times a day, and see it, feel it, smell it, taste it, the vision that you want to be. You know, I can see myself walking across the stage in the next level of our advancement in the company. I can hear the crowds. I can hear the people. I believe that when I walk across the stage the next time, all 7,000 people are going to stand up and cheer and give me a standing ovation. I can see myself taking the mic and the exact words that I'm going to say, who I'm going to thank, and what message I'm going to share to the world. And you have to do the same. You have to see the place you want to be, feel the place you want to be, rather than dwelling in the place that you're in. As you bask in that vision, speak the vision. You know, as a matter of fact, I was with Pat Rattari had a beautiful affirmation of I am a Pro 10, okay, in which he demonstrates exactly what we're talking about, that I am a Pro 10, and this is how I got there, and this is how it's going to feel, and this is what I'm going to do when I get there. Right? And you begin to speak the world into existence. The world was spoken into existence. As it says, in the beginning was the Word. Okay? When you speak the Word, you experience the Word. It is a man shall have whatsoever he saith. So as you want to make your breakthrough, once you see what it is, you know, one of the great blocks in keeping us from making our breakthrough is that we're looking backwards trying to go forward. You know, there's a reason why the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield. And so if we're stuck right now, stop dwelling on the circumstances of your stuck situation and start really dwelling on where you want to be. If you can't see it, you certainly can't be it. Yeah. There are journeys from and there are journeys to. You can't make a journey from and make a breakthrough. A journey from is where you remove yourself from a situation of discomfort or unpleasantness, but you won't put yourself into a situation of success in journeys from. It must be a journey to, and it must be a journey to that which you're seeking. As it says, where there is no vision, where there is no imagination, the people perish. Where you are stuck where you are right now, it's because you, and I'm going to say we, don't have a vision of where we want to be. When the world was spoken into existence, the Creator didn't wonder how. In other words, the Creator didn't say, well, let there be light, and then wonder, I wonder how this light thing is going to happen. Or let there be firmament, and I wonder how this world is going to come about. We have to realize that we have to see it, say it, feel it, to be in it. And so one of the keys to opening up that door to our breakthrough is to speak it into existence. I am a Pro 10. I am a happy person. I am successful. I am creative. I am surrounded by people who love me. All people want to join me in my business. I am a radiant, magnetic being that attracts all the good things into my life. You have to speak it over and over and over again. Every success book tells you that you have to dwell on, you have to speak, you have to say, and not just lip service, but say it in the total involvement of your being, that which you're seeking. Any success book, it'll say, write your goals, write your vision on the refrigerator, and read them over 3 or 4 times a day. But it's reading them over with feeling, reading them over with the idea of dwelling therein. And then, folks, realize that we are the breakthrough that we're seeking. We have everything we need to get everything we want. It's really an inside job. And so if we have the ability inside, if we have everything we need to get everything we want, what must we do? We must see it. we must feel it, and we must speak it constantly. We must reprogram our mind from success and mediocrity thinking, from lack of success or mediocrity thinking, to success, to potential, to unlimited thoughts. In every success book, it tells you to read it over 3 to 5 times a day. Do that. Once you can see it, you can be it, you can say it, and it will be. Begin to act congruent with the vision. We know we talk a lot in our business about posture. And I don't mean how you sit up, but your posture is the way that you present yourself. That people want to join you when you present yourself as a winner, but people will run from you when you present yourself as a loser or present yourself as one with self-doubt. So often, we literally undermine our success by what we say. When people are around us and they hear us describe or speak about failure, what other people won't do, what has not happened, the negativity of the experience that you're having rather than the positivity and possibilities in it, people feel it, and you create that negativity that keeps you from going where you want to go. Imagination is a sensory vision of that which you wish to see, that which you wish to be, that which you wish to have, that which you wish to do. We must always be in the imagination state. It is one thing to think of the end, the desired outcome, but it's another to think from the end, from the desired outcome. So we make the breakthrough in life by jumping over into the experience that we are seeking. Imagination can create reality. You know, where they say, where there's no vision, the people perish. Imagination can create reality regardless of facts. You know, so often people look at the facts of the situation, but it's not the facts. There's a beautiful story about how speaking it into existence. It talks about a man who had a small business, and it seemed that his business was going to fail. And he said he found himself in a financial jam, along with other businessmen at the time. And he said he was so badly in debt that he needed at least $3,000 immediately just to keep the doors open. You know, his advisors, you know, the people around you, the auditors, the bean counters, the accountants had told him to close the doors and try to salvage what he could. Instead, he turned to his imagination. He said that he was frankly skeptical of the entire idea that imagination can create reality, but he was so desperate that desperation forced him to test the hypothesis. And so he imagined in his office one day receiving $4,000 unexpectedly in remittances. In other words, from money that people owed him, money people wanted to spend with him. This money was to have come from new orders, as many of his accounts receivable were practically non-existent. But it seemed so far-fetched because he hadn't received any checks that month and had nowhere approached that level of sales. But he kept that imaginal picture in his mind and repeated it over daily and visualized it daily. And he kept seeing himself receiving this money within 3 days. Well, early on the 4th morning, a customer that he had not heard from in months called in on the telephone and said he wanted to come in and see him. He came in and he asked him to give him a quotation that he had previously given him for some machinery that the customer needed. Okay? The quotation was months old, and this had been a long time before, but he updated the quotation, dug it out, he wrote out the order, he signed it, and he saw that he passed it on to the customer. He saw no immediate help in the transaction. That was the problem. When he wrote the order up, he said he saw no immediate help in the transaction because it would take 4 to 6 months to develop to deliver the product, and the customer did not have to pay him until it was delivered. So anyway, in any event, he took the order, he thanked him for the order, and he got up to leave, and the customer stopped him at the door and handed him a check for over $4,000, saying, I want to pay for the merchandise in advance. For tax purposes, you know. You don't mind, do you? He didn't mind. He took that check into his hand, and he knew that his imagination had brought about the $4,000 that he needed in his business. I remember having a personal experience myself when our company was just getting started. We were putting in proposals, and we had put in a proposal to do some life skill training for a company and for a community organization, and we put it in that Monday. The lady called us that Tuesday. We went there, and she said, fine. She gave us a check in an envelope, and I took it back to the office. And my mind was so set on the circumstances and situation, I looked at the check, and my mind saw that the check was dated for, I think it was June 28th. Excuse me. This was May 25th when we got the check. I put the check in the files, and when June 28th came and I went to the files and looked at the check was dated for May 28th. The lady had paid us in advance because they closed out their fiscal year, and they wanted to get all their checks written before June 10th. The end of the year was June 30th. In other words, our minds tricked us into seeing what was not there. And so, imagination creates reality. Don't worry about the facts. When you can visualize the desired outcome, and experience it through the senses, then the facts do not matter. And so, the key to making that breakthrough is, one, to have the goals, to see the vision of where you want to be, how you want to be, experience the things you want to be, the success, feel it, smell it, in all your senses. Two, take responsibility for bringing it about. If it's to be, it's up to me. You are the captain of your ship, but you're also the crew. Three, totally rely on your creativity, your visualization. Be solution-oriented rather than problem-oriented. To look at every situation as, this is an opportunity for growth. I know there's a great and possible solution, and it's on the way. Four, leverage your time. Leverage your time, your energy, and money. As they say, work smarter, okay? Work harder. How do you work harder? When you want to begin a breakthrough, one of the keys is to utilize the power of leverage by getting other people involved to help you make that breakthrough and to help you go where you want to go. Work smarter. Learn the lessons of others. In our business, we keep talking about the master track, and everyone who has made huge money in our business tells you to do the same thing. Make the 15 presentations, follow up, bring people to events, promote events, etc. Learn from their experiences. Fifth, enthusiasm. Demonstrate enthusiasm about where you want to be, where you are going. You know? Demonstrate that you love what you want to do, because when you love what you're doing enough, it gives you the emotional energy to be the best. Six, work out your priorities. We all have the same amount of time, and so once you see the vision of where you want to be as a result of your breakthrough, then set your priorities in accord with what has to be done to get you where you need to go. In other words, one of the keys, that the negative things that undermine us, is when we permit us to spend dollar time on penny jobs. When we lay out the great plan and spend time organizing our papers and clearing our desks so that we'll have a clean place to work. It's not the cleanliness of the place, it's the work that must be done. And then finally, commit yourself to continuous and constant personal development. Your breakthrough will come in direct proportion to your level of personal ability, your level of personal development. You must be committed to learn more, because when you learn more, you can be more. When you learn more, you can have more. And so, folks, in conclusion, when you're looking for a breakthrough, look into the mirror, because the answer is there. And that person that you see in the mirror has the power to create the dream, to create the vision, to create that sensory expression of what you want to be, do, and have. And it only takes a decision to get it done. So decide on your breakthrough, visualize your breakthrough, take action on your breakthrough, and it will be done. Don't worry about the facts. Don't worry about the how. Just visualize it, see it, feel it, smell it in every sensory way, and it will be. Because reality is created from your imagination. Where your imagination leads, your reality will follow, regardless of the facts and circumstances.